The wind sweeping in from the Pacific cut through the early morning, mist as a dark sedan rolled to a stop outside the gates of Harbor Point Naval Operations Center. Floodlights buzzed overhead, casting a pale glow across the pavement. A woman stepped out wearing jeans, a weathered gray hoodie, and boots marked by long miles. A single duffel bag rested against her hip. Nothing about her suggested rank or authority. The gate guard checked her ID quickly and waved her through. Two sailors nearby exchanged amused glances. "Another logistics transfer," one muttered. "Hope this one lasts longer than the last," the other replied. They laughed. She kept walking. No one at Harbor Point knew the truth. The quiet newcomer wasn't a clerk. She was Vice Admiral Elena Carter, the new commanding officer assigned to take charge of the entire installation. For more than half her life, Elena had worn a uniform. She had commanded fleets through narrow straits in contested waters. She had coordinated joint operations across the Indo-Pacific. She had earned recognition for decisions made under pressure that saved lives and preserved missions. But that morning, her badge read, Administrative Support Transfer. She had chosen it deliberately. Inside headquarters, fluorescent lights flickered over cluttered desks and aging computers. Petty Officer Mills processed her paperwork without noticing anything unusual. Colonel Marcus Bennett glanced briefly at her orders and assigned her to the logistics office under Major Hannah Torres. No ceremony, no announcement, exactly as planned. The logistics department was overwhelmed. Phones rang constantly. Crates of paperwork crowded the walls. Requisitions were backlogged. Equipment waited for parts that never seemed to arrive. Jokes masked exhaustion. "Let's hope she doesn't quit by Friday," someone joked when she entered. Elena gave a polite nod and sat at her assigned desk. She listened. She observed how Major Torres held the department together with sheer determination. She saw how Master Sergeant Caleb Ross in the motor pool refused to sign off on repairs without accurate part confirmations. She noted how Sergeant First Class Andre Malik in communications struggled with aging systems that barely held steady during peak demand. She stayed late to help a young specialist drowning in data entry errors. She quietly corrected process gaps. She asked thoughtful questions instead of defending policies that others mocked, policies she had once helped design at the strategic level. In meetings, officers criticized whoever dreamed up these new readiness codes. In the cafeteria, pilots grumbled about unrealistic drill schedules. In maintenance bays, mechanics rolled their eyes at forms that didn't reflect reality. They didn't know the architect of many of those systems was sitting quietly at the back, taking notes. Elena wasn't offended. She was gathering insight. What concerned her wasn't equipment alone. It was complacency. Delays had become routine. Low expectations had replaced accountability. Capable people were tired. Leadership was reactive instead of proactive. Then the storm arrived. A coastal squall rolled in quickly, dark clouds swallowing the sky. A transport aircraft carrying critical supplies was scheduled to land that night. If diverted, the base would lose essential components for weeks. As wind hammered the buildings, the communications network began to falter. A power fluctuation damaged a primary antenna. Backup systems struggled. Tower contact with the inbound aircraft became unstable. Inside the communications center, voices overlapped. Screens flashed warning indicators. No one clearly took control. Elena stepped forward. Her voice remained calm and firm. "Switch tower operations to alternate frequency 412. Physically inspect the backup relay chain. Prepare a portable generator feed. Begin manual confirmation of runway vehicle positions. Do not rely solely on the automated grid." The room paused, then moved. She explained the aircraft's preset capabilities without consulting manuals. She spoke to the pilot with steady authority, guiding the transition to a clearer channel. She coordinated with maintenance to ensure uninterrupted power. Within minutes, communications stabilized. The aircraft landed safely despite the storm. Whispers began immediately. The new admin transfer had handled the crisis like a seasoned commander. She knew frequencies, systems, and contingency protocols instinctively. The following morning, the base assembled on the parade grounds under clear skies. Rumors had spread that a new commander would formally assume leadership. As the band began to play, a figure stepped into view in full dress uniform. Polished shoes gleamed. Medals lined her chest. Admiral stars shone on her shoulders. Gasps moved through the formation. It was her, the quiet woman from logistics. "Ladies and gentlemen," the announcer declared. Vice Admiral Elena Carter assuming command of Harbor Point Naval Operations Center. Recognition washed across the crowd. Major Torres stiffened. Master Sergeant Ross lowered his gaze in disbelief. The young gate guard stood ramrod straight. Elena approached the podium. "I spent my first week here as a transfer clerk," she began. "No rank displayed, no special treatment. I wanted to see Harbor Point as you experience it daily, without performance for leadership." She spoke of inefficiencies and outdated systems. But more importantly, she spoke of dedication. "I saw people who still cared deeply about their mission," she said. "That matters more than any metric." She called Major Torres forward and tasked her with leading a comprehensive logistics modernization effort. She appointed Master Sergeant Ross to oversee base-wide maintenance integrity. She assigned Sergeant Malik to head a communications resilience initiative. "These leaders didn't wait for permission to do what was right," she said. "From today forward, we will solve problems before they become excuses." The salute that followed was different. It wasn't merely procedural. It was sincere. Over the next 6 months, Harbor Point transformed. Supply chains became transparent. Maintenance schedules stabilized. Communications infrastructure was upgraded. Corrupt practices uncovered during audits led to quiet removals and restored accountability. Morale shifted most dramatically. Personnel began taking pride in efficiency. Meetings became collaborative rather than defensive. Standards rose across every department. Admiral Carter never again mentioned her undercover week. She didn't need to. The memory influenced every interaction. When asked how she rebuilt the base, she answered simply, "Authority is strongest when it understands reality. Leadership begins by listening." Her example proved something powerful. True leadership is not about demanding recognition. It is about earning trust. It is about stepping into the storm when others hesitate. It is about humility before command. And sometimes, the most effective way to lead is to walk among your people quietly, before asking them to follow you boldly.